What is a product that if people found out how it was made they'd stop buying it? Not really a product, but if people knew how much and often people cut corners in construction, I think housing prices would go way down. I don't think I was ever on a job where a problem came up and people were like, okay, let's start over and do this right. Or, especially in bigger construction companies, how much time the employees waste to run the clock. Edit. Guys, trust me when I say I have put my sweat and blood into the industry. My hands are calloused. I'm still working class, and it wasn't my intention to call out people that do this stuff as lazy or whatever else. Most people doing these jobs are extremely underpaid. And on top of being underpaid, they're putting their bodies and health on the line every single day. I almost lost a finger. Twice. I've almost had a whole granite slab fall on me for $11 per hour. I probably would have died. And many more situations I won't get into. Don't take it out on the workers. Just try your best to work with a smaller company that isn't working 50 jobs at once and has a supervisor, owner around to watch what's going on. When you buy a used house, you'd be shocked at the corners people cut to make them look sellable. I work at a home improvement retailer. They ask you how to do a project and then disregard what you say if they can do it easier, faster, or cheaper. I know the signs of budget flips and budget repairs now. Nothing. People know what goes into hot dogs and chicken nuggets. They still eat them as here. They've seen what the sweatshops look like, and they still buy stuff from there. Fresh juices are not so fresh apparently. A friend whose family owns mango orchard told me these companies buy the leftover stock that doesn't sell directly and leave the rest to strong artificial flavoring for uniform taste. Fresh squeezed is marketing. You can deliver orange juice year-round in 3 ways. 1. Buy fresh oranges and squeeze them yourself. 2. Squeeze the oranges. Remove most of the water and freeze the concentrate. This is sold as frozen concentrate. 3. Squeeze the oranges. Then separate all the components of the juice mechanically and chemically. Store the various components in huge tanks, sometimes for years. Then mix it with flavors and preservatives. Bottle it, and sell it before it separates again. This is sold as fresh squeezed, because it's never been frozen, unless you physically see method 1. Method 2 is far fresher. Anyone who enjoys sausage and respects the law should never find out how either are made. No one really knows how the game is played, the art of the trade, how the sausage gets made. We just assume that it happens, but no one else is in the room where it happens. Silk. Bonus story. Had a friend who worked briefly in bridal and was fitting a woman who was boasting how vegan and eco-friendly her wedding was going to be. No one was allowed to wear leather, etc., all while wearing her dress with huge amounts of silk on it. Extracting raw silk starts by cultivating the silkworms on mulberry leaves. Once the worms start pupating in their cocoons, these are dissolved in boiling water. Wiki. Whoa, I did not know this. For some reason, this is what's got me most surprised in this thread. What is worse is that the silkworms themselves are no longer capable of surviving without human influence. The male silkworm, which matures into a moth, is so physically weak that they are unable to fly due to poor breeding. And that's just one species of animal that has suffered due to domestication. I really don't think there is one. If it's because the ingredients or preparation are disgusting, I think most people are perfectly happy to keep using it because the finished product is fine. If it's immoral reason, I just don't think most people would care enough to stop using or eating whatever the product is. We've known for years that Air Jordans are being made with child labor in sweatshops, and sales haven't dipped one bit due to that. And I don't say this as a cynic. I think we should work to improve conditions for all humanity. But the proportion of consumers who would be bothered enough to stop buying a thing is vanishingly small. In high school, the girls in my class were horrified to find out what their Uggs were made of. They had no idea. What did they think sheepskin boots were made from? Pretty sure they thought it was synthetic. Or they never realized they were referred to as being sheepskin and got them due to popularity. Either way, they were not happy about this revelation. Reminds me of the girl at my high school who realized while eating chicken wings that they were in fact the wings of a dead chicken. I think she's still a vegan 15 years later. It was pure shock. Oh god, I knew this girl who was like, oh no, you don't kill the sheep to make Uggs. And I was like, no, you are thinking of wool, this is literally sheepskin, you have to kill it. Baby powder. If only they knew where all the babies go. Nah, baby powder is what's left when you squeeze all the oil out. Slurm. Poplars. Certain signed artwork. Used to work at an art printing company that we did signature editions of certain pieces. Guess who did the signing? Me and some coworkers. We were all design and art majors, so they just had us learn all the artists' signatures. We even had machines that could mimic the signatures too. I wish I had a picture of the devices, they were pretty cool. It was in the fine print that we were doing it and was approved by the artists, but I guarantee most people would never buy the prints if they knew the signatures were forged. So always read the fine print when buying items. Especially special editions of stuff. Only buying from artists from now on. The human brain is incredibly good at forgetting and ignoring information that might inconvenience it. I'm gonna pretend like I didn't see this. I'd imagine if people walked through the sweatshops that produce most of their clothing, they would consider spending a bit more for products made in a more humane way. One of the reasons I think buying ethically made clothing is difficult is the large price difference. At least with the clothes I've seen. Also, many of the shops I've seen with strong ethical values tend to be online. And there are some clothing items that are difficult to buy without trying them on. I want to do better, but the industry doesn't make it easy. Yep. And if you want ethically sourced clothes, you need to be two things: thin and have plenty of money. I'm fat, and when I got my last job was very determined to have a humanely made plus-size wardrobe. For it proved to be impossible. Even if I got to the point I could make a lot of my own clothes. I have a chronic illness that can make that very difficult. I'm never going to become a professional tailor with skill to make work clothes. Coffee and cockroaches are linked in several ways. After I found out the story behind the palm plantations for production of palm oil, I made it my personal mission to completely throw it out of my life. And that shish tea is in almost everything you eat. And in so many cosmetic products, and in shampoo, and in cleaning detergent. One really wonders why the fuck they put that in there to begin with. Chocolate produced by child labor. I once read a Twitter thread in Arab Twitter about this. It was widely retweeted. Some people were commenting that at least these children are working. Even though the thread clearly pointed out these kids were kidnapped by cacao gangs. Chased and killed if they tried to escape. Some people will not stop and will not care and will tell themselves lies and continue about their day. Truth is irrelevant. One of my teachers in middle school made the class read an article about chocolate and child slavery. She gave us all a Hershey's Kiss too and told us we couldn't eat it until we had read the whole article. I think she was doing some fucked moral test on us 6th graders. TBH, looking back I can see that she was trying to teach us about current events and to be careful about consumption, but fuck, she could have done a better job. I want to say sneakers by brands like Nike, who exploit, underpay and abuse their workers. But sadly most people already know how they're made and still buy them. Monsieur. Babies. Why? How do they make babies? Baby.co company make them. Most low to mid-tier vodkas. I work at an industrial distillery where we make millions of gallons of very high purity ethanol from corn. We have customers in the beverage market that literally just dilute our product to 80 proof or so, run it through a filter, and bottle it to sell. Those customers sell their products from anywhere from $8 to $50 plus for a liter. And you know what the main difference is? the more expensive vodka's bottle is fancier. It's almost all brand perception with these corn-based vodkas. I can definitely tell the difference in smell and taste between LAKEY and Tito's vodka though. I don't get how PPL like Tito's so much. Perhaps BC Tito's is categorically gluten-free. Not exactly a product, but certain legal services. A lot of times lawyers are just filling in blanks from a template when drafting documents. And many problems can be resolved with a 2-minute online search if you know where to look. If the public had the knowledge of and access to the resources available to lawyers, there's an awful lot people could figure out for themselves. Of course, that's not to say it's a good idea to DIY a legal matter if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Just that the prices people pay for certain legal services aren't commensurate with the amount of time and effort they actually take the lawyer to complete. Edit. I am a lawyer myself, and I'll echo others' comments by saying that you can seriously screw yourself or your loved ones over by doing even something as simple as a will incorrectly. In matters above a certain level of complexity, it would be insane to even consider representing yourself. The point still remains that my clients might think twice about how much they paid me if they watched me draft their deed in 6 minutes while listening to a Let's Play in one ear button, browsing Reddit in another tab. As a corporate lawyer, this is 100% true up until you get to a certain level. If you are selling or buying a business, or once you get into a certain dollar amount, just Googling a form document won't work. Same goes for anything that starts to touch on securities laws. You're paying for the knowledge and the experience. You're also paying for someone to blame if it goes wrong. If you file your own documents and there's a typo, you have to go through the process of redoing them, and you can be on the hook for any issues. A small misprint in a document can cost millions. Also, there's the ease. When I filed small claims issues, I spent all day waiting in court to get another document to wait all day in another court. When I hired a lawyer for a similar matter, he walked up behind the judge and handed it to "Hi, monsieur." The judge signed it without hardly looking at it and handed it back. It cost me $150, but I didn't have to miss 2 days of work. Buy might be a stretch, but porn, when abuse happens there, not only is it pretty abominable, but the end user also watches a good bit of it with their own eyes. Even worse, the end user is turned on by it. That's literally the end goal. The porn industry is manipulative and often lies to young women. Not to mention some videos are straight up rape. This reminds me of a documentary series my dad once watched. Garlic. The garlic industry is a hell of a lot darker than most people would think. I don't remember everything, but apparently a lot of Chinese companies that sell to restaurants overseas use prison labor. These inmates have to peel the garlic completely by hand. No tools whatsoever. There were a few inmates missing fingernails. If I recall correctly, one man said that he had a friend who had to resort to using his teeth because he didn't have any nails left. They work unimaginably grueling shifts, in which they have to meet a quota for the day or face consequences. They get paid very little, if anything at all. They all seemed so miserable. This series is titled Rotten. You can find it on Netflix. You'd be surprised how many products, including food, involve slavery, edit, and/or animal cruelty. I greatly prefer to go leather-free in anything I use. I'm torn on leather. I've heard that it's typically made of the leftover skin from beef cattle that farmers sell to places that make leather, and I can totally get behind the idea of not wasting any part of the animal. But if that's not the case, and it's literally just from animals killed for their leather, that's definitely not okay. Feel. Yup, there is a reason why you don't see too many male calves on a dairy farm, monsieur. Because of the low amount of milk they give. Everybody knows how horrible clothing sweatshops are, and the vast majority of people still buy the clothes. Everybody knows how horrible animals are treated on farms, and the vast majority of people still buy meat. Everybody knows that gold and gems are mined by child laborers, and the vast majority of people still buy jewelry. Everybody knows that computers and phones are manufactured by abused workers in China, and the vast majority of people still buy them, monsieur. There are very few people who are going to give up their lifestyles for something that unimportant to them, monsieur. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.